Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Video Game Pickups, and holy cow, behind the scenes it's actually been quite a while since I last sat in front of the camera to do an episode like this. It's probably been since maybe December or early January, so it's been like a month or two or something like that. So it feels good to be back here and shooting more episodes. Real quick before I get into these pickups, let me tell you the question of the day. What are some pickups that you've grabbed recently and are playing? Let me know down below. Also, which of these games interests you the most? Let me know. Anyways, let's just get right into it. I've got another stack of Super Famicom games that I've picked up recently that we can go through. First up, I just want to give an update. I've finally gotten my copy of Runar. If you remember from my Christmas pickups episode, they accidentally sent me the wrong game, and that game was Super Bikkuri Man, which I'm going to talk about now since I didn't really talk about it much in that episode. So, Super Bikkuri Man is a terrible fighting game. By God, is this game raw. It is stiff as stone. One of the worst fighting games I think I've ever played. And it's kind of a shame because graphically the game isn't too bad. Like if you just look at like a picture of the game, you'd be like, oh hey, this looks kind of good. It kind of has some of that like Capcom charm to it. But no, the second you start playing, it feels like a game that was made by a company who had never played a fighting game. And I think that might have been the case. I don't know. I didn't look into it, but sitting down to play it was like the most arduous 5 minutes I've ever played of a fighting game. It's really bad. It's so stiff. The characters move like they're made of stone. The controls are so awkward. There are no special moves that I could pull off. I was trying my your Street Fighter combos and I got nothing. Terrible game. But I still believe it's cheap. If you want a really bad game, a nice kusoge, maybe pick up Bikkuri Man. Other than that, avoid it like the plague. It's awful. Next up is a game I actually didn't really know existed until just a little while ago, and that is Lode Runner Twin. And I believe there's actually 2 or 3 games in the Lode Runner series on the Super Famicom. But I saw it and I saw a couple pictures of it and I was like, hey, this looks cool. Looked it up. Super cheap. I think I got it for $5 and immediately bought it. Was a little disappointed when I went to go play it. It plays kind of like your standard Lode Runner game. It's a puzzle platformer. But I don't know. It's janky, kind of like all of the rest of the Lode Runner games. But if you're into this kind of stuff, I'd recommend giving it a shot. It's one I don't entirely regret purchasing, as I'm sure I'll try and play it a little bit more here and there to try and get more out of it, see if I like it, but it's not one I'm particularly fond of. But hey, whatever, $5 is another game in the collection that I'll be sure to try and spend some more time with to get a little bit more out of it. Who knows, maybe I'll come around on it. Speaking of puzzle games, here's one that I actually talked about in my cheap yet good Super Famicom Imports game episode way back, like, 2 years at this point. And that is Bomberman B Damen. This is the first of 2 games in the B Damen series that appeared on the Super Nintendo. And if you're not familiar with this game and haven't seen my episode, I highly recommend going to check it out. But it is basically like bowling with bombs. So you have these various scenarios where there's like, a line of bombs on the screen, and what you're trying to do is create one big chain reaction to blow them all up. The more you blow up, the higher you get ranked, and the more points you gain. And as you go, there are various gimmicks and stage designs that'll make blowing up all of the bombs harder or more challenging each time. It's a really fun game to pour, like a good hour or 2 into on a weekend or like after work. Fun game. Highly recommend Bomberman B Damen. Also, there is a actual like standard Bomberman multiplayer mode. So if you get tired of kind of your regular Bomberman multiplayer modes, you could crack this open with a couple of friends and play like a very slight variation on it. It's fun. Cool game. And the same goes for the sequel. Alright, next up we have a heavy hitter. Considered one of the best shoot-'em-ups on the SNES, and that is Axelay. And it does go for quite a bit of money here in the States, but I'm happy to say that Japanese copies still go for considerably less. I want to say I got mine for just under $40, somewhere between $35 to $37, and totally worth it. Awesome shoot 'em up. Very hard, I'm not very good at it, but it is definitely known for its awesome use of Mode 7 in some of the stages, and it's a really cool gimmick. But I would definitely put emphasis on gimmick because while it is cool, I would say it's not always utilized as best as it could be. But it's still an awesome shoot 'em up that everybody should play and own if you are a Super Nintendo enthusiast. And next up, we have a game that I really want to do a review on, but there's no translation, so I don't feel it is really fair for me to give it a full review, which is why I'm going to talk about it here. And that is, oh gosh, let's see if I can remember the name. It is Tadaima Yuusha Boshuuchuu Okawari, which translates to recruit heroes now, or no, it translates to now recruiting heroes. And it's kind of like if you took Mario Party and mashed it up with an RPG. Do away with the mini games and instead have random encounters and battles. And it's really cool. So yes, I said it's like a Mario Party because it's like a board game. You select from various different characters, 4 characters will play at a time, and you roll dice to move around the map, and the goal of the game is to defeat as many of the villains around the map as you can. So I think there are maybe like 10 per map, and what you're trying to do is go in and reclaim the castle they've taken over, or reclaim the town that they've taken over. And the more towns and castles you reclaim, the more likely you are to win. And it's pretty cool. It's pretty fun. And there are neat little things like you can go to taverns and recruit more people into your party, which you'll need to defeat the bad guys. You can run into like fortune tellers and item dealers to get more items for your advantage. Sometimes you can just find items. Sometimes you'll get robbed by thieves and lose items, or sometimes you'll even just run into like NPCs on your way through the world that you can add to your party, or switch out somebody in your party for the new NPC. And they all have different stats. And the battles are pretty fun. They're your standard RPG battles. It's 3-on-3 type deal, and they look good. They sound good. My only problem is, unlike regular RPGs, the random encounters have been significantly cut back in this game, which is a shame because you do kind of need to grind a little bit to take out some of the bad guys and villains who've taken over towns and castles. So occasionally you'll have to spend your next couple of turns actively searching for random battles, and sometimes they don't come, and sometimes they do. So it becomes kind of tedious and time-consuming trying to level up just to progress. I wish they could have fixed that a little more. But other than that, I think the game is a lot of fun, and I really hope that it gets a translation one day. Who knows, maybe now that I've talked about it, the right person will stumble across this video and be like, hey, that looks cool, let me start translating that, or let me start a project to translate this. And there's another game that I really want to talk about, very similar to this, that is supposedly in the process of being translated, and I hope that's true, because it adds an extra couple elements to this game's general gameplay that make it a little funner and a little better than this, but that's a game for another day. So that is going to do it for this episode of Video Game Pickups. Be sure to check out my other reviews, my other pickup videos, and my side quest episodes on the channel. And since I mentioned it in this video already, the video I'm going to recommend today is my cheap yet good imports video, which is a pretty good introduction to Super Famicom importing. What's some good games you can check out if you're first getting into it. Anyways, I'll see you all next time. Hey, thanks for watching. If you like this episode, consider checking out these other videos right here, or even subscribing. Also, if you'd like to throw me a couple of bucks, you can support the show on Patreon.